ayes have it.
Compliments of the season, hello and welcome to this edition of the program. I am Dennis Adigunloye. It was an issue of major contention over the past few weeks, and in the week his observations on direct primaries and other issues compelled President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021. The president said, with the prevailing situation in the country, it will be better to allow political parties to determine their mode of selecting candidates for elections. This was contained in his letter to both chambers of the National Assembly, read by Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila. The president explained reasons for declining to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021, citing the high cost of conducting direct primaries, security challenges of monitoring elections, violation of citizens' rights, and marginalization of small political parties.
The conduct of direct primaries across the 8,809 wards across the length and breadth of the country will lead to a significant spike in the cost of conducting primary elections by parties, as well as increase in the cost of monitoring such elections by INEC. It will also stifle smaller parties without the enormous resources required to mobilize all party members for the primaries. This is not healthy for the sustenance of multi-party democracy in Nigeria.
In addition to increased costs identified above, conducting and monitoring primary elections across 8,809 wards will pose huge security challenges, as the security agencies will also be overstretched.
Meanwhile, Senate President Ahmed Lawan says the National Assembly will address issues raised on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill by the President when both chambers reconvene in January 2022.
So that we look at the issues raised, and then as a National Assembly, we address the situation in whatever way is appropriate. I believe that this National Assembly, and particularly the Senate, has done so much.
The President also sought the approval of Environment as Senate passed the 2021 Appropriation Act Amendment Bill to extend the implementation of the capital components of the 2021 budget from 31st December 2021 to 31st March 2022. And the Senate in the week also passed the 2022 Appropriations Bill of 17.1 trillion naira, an increase from the 16.3 trillion presented by the executive. At Wednesday's plenary, presenting the reports of the Committee on Appropriations, Chairman of the committee, Senator Barau Jibrin, explained the reasoning behind the increment.
The deficit was increased by 98 billion to include some other requests made by the city arm of government to take care of some projects of national importance which were not provided in the submitted budget estimate and could not be covered by the increase in revenue.
Today, by the grace of God, we have passed the budget for 2022. And that is a huge, very big milestone, very historic. And this is something that we are supposed to ensure that as long as we are in this Senate, up to our tenure, that we pass the budget as regularly as we have established.
Out of the 17.1 trillion naira budget, 5.4 trillion naira is for capital expenditure, recurrent expenditure 6.9 trillion, statutory transfers 869.6 billion naira, and debt service 3.8 trillion. The oil benchmark was increased from $57 to $62 per barrel, oil production of 1.88 million barrels per day, an exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo to a dollar, gross domestic product of 4.2%, and an inflation rate of 13%. Here is a graphic illustration of the sectoral allocations.
I want to assure all Nigerians that we are here as an assembly because we have been elected to serve as members of the assembly, parliamentarians. Everything and anything we do, we try to put Nigerians in the center of it.
Now, recently, a public hearing on two bills was conducted, one of which was the bill for an act to establish a commercial data management system. Here are highlights of that public hearing, as well as sponsor of the bill, Senator representing Taraba Central, Abubakar Yusuf, giving his reasoning behind his proposing this bill.
We'll allow the mover of the motion to address us by giving us some highlights.
My distinguished colleagues and our guests, I thank Your Excellency, Mr. President, Chairman, Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, our stakeholders, for this opportunity to lend my voice. I therefore pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the fruitful deliberation as the committee settle down for the business of the day.
As regards the establishment of a bill to establish integrated database, we want to raise certain issues, particularly with Section 10, which deals with the function, powers, and of the proposed commission. It provides for enumeration of all existing corporate entities registered in Nigeria under one data system, among others. It is our submission that the Corporate Affairs Commission has these records under one data system already. The records are available to public and upon payment of prescribed fee. It is further submitted that any effort at creating any other commission to hold and store the same data or information will amount to a duplication of responsibility and function.
Idea of a data management commission should kind of be more towards having a data harmonization system, like a digital platform, a one-stop platform that can have all the services of government on it, whereby you can go in there and validate relevant documents across with other agencies. So this is the kind of collaboration I expected from a bill like this, at least to make it mandatory for government or agencies to operate on a single platform, so that it will be easier for other for service providers or other persons that want to verify or authenticate documents. So, Mr. Chairman, I believe we really have to look at this. It's not an era for duplicating efforts, but to improve the systems that we already have in existence. Thank you.
I do have sympathy for a bill like this, I should say. And from what I've heard, there are a lot of things that could be corrected as far as making this bill right is concerned. But I need clarification. My understanding of this bill is larger, is much broader than some of the contributions that I'm hearing on this, especially some of the objections that I'm hearing. For instance, I thought that this bill is looking at the whole gamut of data that will be available from across the MDS in this country?
For me, I wouldn't say I'm against this bill, but again, I think some of you actually try to confuse us the more as to what step to take because of your presentations. But of course, Mr. Chairman, at the end, we'll look at it holistically and make sure that we take a position that will help. But data management system, effectively, having a commission that will be all-encompassing, is something that we must take into consideration. But in doing that, we'll look at the aspects of quite a number of agencies that have a bit of similar functions. But some of the agencies that have spoken here, they talked about the areas at which they are operating. But you see, it is not a network system that we have. So there are quite a number of areas still yet untouched. We're talking about data management, data system. We're not talking about just the companies that operate in Nigeria for business transactions. There's a lot to data keeping. There are quite a number of information that are needed about certain aspects of our development today. Just like my colleague said, that we have to look forward to UK, our foreign, our colonial masters, you know. So I think it is important we start keeping data. And in doing that, I think it's not out of place if we look at an agency or a commission. It may not be that too bogus, you know. You could have an agency that is not going to be bogus, but they'll be so effective that they will meet the essence of our presentation, of our gathering here this afternoon. But that is not to throw away quite a number of your presentations with you as experts. And that explains why we are here to listen to you. But of course, you know, when you are not an expert in a particular field, when people are making their presentation at times, it sounds as if they are speaking Latin to you, because you have to go and sleep over what they have said and meditate and take a position. And I think we still have some weeks ahead after this public hearing, so that we can look at the presentations and arrive at what we think is good for our nation. So I so submit.
Let me make some clarifications, especially CAC. Now, if I ask you what is the database of the statutory corporations in this country, do you have the database?
No, just make your comments. Don't ask.
So I know you don't have. So that is why I say integrated. We are integrating what is in CAC and what is not in CAC. Also, I want to clarify the issue that NIMC raised. NIMC, if I ask you, what is the NIMC, what is the national identity number of DPR? Do you have any? Because this one we are talking about entities. We are talking about corporations. We are not talking about individuals. Also, let me clarify this. Whenever there's an adverse to bid for a contract in this country, they will ask to bring certificate of incorporation, certificate of this, certificate of that, certificate of that. By the time that entity collects all this data, all these documents, I want a situation whereby there should be either a code number or a card that should be submitted, so that that agency can now have inroad into that database to say, yes, company A or entity A has met all the requirements. I don't need all the bundle of documents brought to me. So these are some of the issues. I agree we are going to look at the areas of inconsistencies you have raised, areas of which you want us, education, we are enlightened, no doubt about it. So, but let us also understand, just like what my colleague has said. I was in UK just last week. I was asking one consultant, why are you using the database of OPEC? We are talking about Nigeria. Why are you using database of OPEC and not database of NMPC, not database of DPR, not database of the Bureau of Statistics? Do you know what they say? They are not reliable. So let us find an entity which will bring integrity into the data that we have. This is what this is all about. I also want to raise this issue. Now, there was a time EFCC arrested some people, and they were found that they were using companies that were not registered by CAC, and they were awarded contracts. if there was an institution that will look at the integrity of that kind of thing, that thing wouldn't have happened. Today you will be surprised. There are people in the civil service who own about 10, 15, 30, 50 companies registered by them. Yes, there's nothing against registration, but if an individual or a family of 2 or 3 people have 20 companies, 30 companies, what are they doing with them? What are they doing with them? There must be something fundamentally wrong with that system. So this is what this thing is all about. Today, people go and register in the bank, they open account, the name is Yusuf, the signature is that of Smart. And we operate in this country as if, nothing is happening. Corruption is killing us every blessed day. And it's lack of integrity in our data system. So let me stop here, Mr. Chairman. This is what all this bill is all about. Thank you very much.
I think we'll call it a day here. And lobbying is officially recognized in the democracy, in lawmaking. So reach out as widely as you can, educate and convince not only members of the committee, 10 of us, but the remaining 101 members of the Senate. And again, that's not the end of the journey. When we pass it, it will go to the 360 House of Rep members. There has to be a meeting point. So 469 people you have to face. Those that will have to agree in the end. And that is why the journey looks long. People who don't know the procedure will think that what the hell are these legislators doing? And taking the time and so on. It can take us days and hours debating on the floor. And again, finally, the executive side. When it goes to Mr. President, he will send it to all agencies and different bodies to be advised. And somebody may just throw a spanner with some argument. I'm just telling you the process so that don't start celebrating yet. Lobby around and pray. So we thank you very much for coming, and I wish you all the best.
The Corporate Affairs Commission does not have the full data of the corporate entities that exist in Nigeria. For instance, those that are creation of the National Assembly, they do not have the information. The information that they have are those that are registered by them. Also, NIMC, NIMC is talking about the same kind of thing, but what I said is that NIMC is an individual thing. It is not a corporate thing yet. I don't know if they will come up with it, but we need corporate identity. And then also, when an institution of government advertises for jobs, for people to come and bid, they ask a lot of information. And now imagine if there are 1,000 bidders of that kind of job. Can you imagine the mountain of documents that will go to them? It cannot even be managed. That is why we have poor analysis, poor evaluation of contracts. So if we have a data card or a data code, as the case may be, it is only the code you are going to code on your bid. And therefore, any information, any entity that wants to access your information can access that database that has been credibly, developed. So it is in this line that we are saying that, look, we should have a commercial data management. For grading of companies, we have AAA, BAB, B++, B-, A-, all this kind of thing. We should have. Today in America, the person that lives in Manhattan, that's why they have these zip codes. A bank just seeing your zip code, not the credibility of where you live. So we should have such a thing in Nigeria, so that we should begin to put in ease of making business in Nigeria. So that is the purpose of that bill, and we have exchanged ideas with the people at the public hearing. So we are going to look at the concerns of Corporate Affairs Commission, the concerns of national identity card, and the others who raised some concerns about them, like the communications act. So this is basically what we are trying to do. It is not going to be a waste of money, because it's not going to rely on treasury for funding its operation. It is self-financing entity. So for somebody to think that you are bringing another entity to eat into the treasury is not going to be true.
The passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill was a watershed moment in the life of the 9th National Assembly, as the Senate set the pace for this parliamentary stride of Nigeria's bicameral legislature. In this review of the year 2021, National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo gives us highlights of major achievements by the Senate and projections for 2022.
9th of February 2021, Senate's first plenary for the year. But it started on a sad note. The death of former member of the House of Representatives, Prestige OC, led to the suspension of legislative business on that first day. It was a busy year for the Senate, confronted with several issues of public importance. Insecurity received the first legislative jab, as the legislators on the 17th of February 2021 passed a resolution urging the President to declare state of emergency in the security sector,
to ensure that we come up with a strategy of ensuring security in schools.
In this year's budget, there is a substantial allocation to address challenges of insecurity.
Senate, in the year under review, also intervened in other sectors of the Nigerian economy. There were motions to stop casualization in workplaces, warning to other countries against the maltreatment of Nigerians, motions on the review of the physical security in Nigerian correctional centers. Among the bills passed in 2021 include the 2022 Appropriations Bill, Finance Bill 2021, 2021 Supplementary Budget, NIPOS Repeal and Reenactment Bill, National Agricultural Fund Bill, and the bill that seeks to abolish the dichotomy between first degree and higher national diploma, Firearms Act Amendment Bill, the Petroleum Industry Bill, Electoral Act Amendment Bill, after some disagreement among the legislators on electronics transmission of results and mode of primaries for political parties.
We want our democracy to grow, and we don't want a situation where some few individuals will be the one responsible for calling the shot if it comes to elections.
The Petroleum Industry Act, because it is now an act, it's something that has been in the National Assembly for the past 17 years, and all the previous assemblies were not able to pass it for one reason or another. But with the kind of leadership that we have now in the Senate and the National Assembly in general, we were able to pass it.
Within the year, Senate confirmed more than 20 presidential appointments. These include past service chiefs, as non-career ambassadors. Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrashid Bawa, confirmation of service chiefs, confirmed Controller General of Nigerian Correctional Service, confirmed the nomination of Muazu Sambo from Taraba State for appointment as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but turned down the appointment of Loretta Onochie as INEC Commissioner.
Actually, Loretta, there were genuine clamor for the fact that not only because there was already somebody representing her own state, but because of the fact that she was seen to be politically leaning towards a particular party.
Senate maintained its working relationship with other arms of government, especially the executive. With few days to the end of 2021, it is expected that the legislators will conclude works on the ongoing constitutional amendment in the coming year.
That concludes the program this week. Here is wishing you all happy festivities. Till next week, I am Dennis Adigunloye. Bye for now.